Yes, I think the world is still in the state of Cold War because there's always this thing, like Edwin said about Cold War, it wasn't actually a war, it was actually competition, and competition will always be there among the countries of the world. That's what
I would add this, especially when it comes to technology, like the easiest competition between Apple and Samsung, and then also when it comes to China, I mean China can find a lot of made in China stuff in this country, let's say, or even in Jakarta. So yeah, it's a really tight competition between one another.
Yeah, and I think the products that are sold in this world, I think they're trying to emphasize on the made in where, like just to show whether this product is probably made in this country, and this country is very, very determined to make this product and all that, just to to make their countries look better. Especially China though. Yeah. Yeah.
China and Japan, I think, because Japan's technology is really, really to the whole next level compared to other countries. Like they have the robot made in robot this and that. Robots.
Yeah, because China and Japan, I think they provide working producing laborers and all that laborers that produce stuff for every company in the world. So, well, not every, but most of the powerful companies in the world. So, yeah. So that matters a lot. And I think that is mainly caused because mainly caused by the Cold War. It's all about competition again.
Okay. I would like to add, since you guys are talking about technology, I would like to talk about how the United States and Russia now, how the United States and Russia handle conflicts. So one of the ideas, one of the most recent conflict is the Crimean conflict. Well, the cause of both countries going at war as a Cold War is because they know about the mutually assured destruction. So this means that with the Crimean crisis, where Russia actually mobilizes their troops, their tanks, their infantries into the Crimean land to Ukraine, the US didn't actually do anything about it. Why? Because if they actually mobilizes their own troops, that will cause a World War III. And knowing that if a World War III happens, that would be mad, as in mutually assured destruction. I think both countries are just staring at each other and kind of challenging each other who was going to make the first move. Yeah, the first move.
Of course.
And if we count how many times Russians have done that to the US, it would probably be a huge number. But the US was they think that they won the war, but I think the Cold War was just on a break. So there's been news all over that they now believe that they actually win the war, but if you look at how things are right now, the Russians can actually just take over the whole of Eastern Europe if they want to, but they don't, because both countries actually realize of each other's nuclear powers. And I think that even if Russia actually did mobilize their troops and attack a country, the US will not be able to do anything because their military is all spread out right now. Although, while the Russians are actually growing their military. So, well, the US is actually kind of shrinking down their military power and is spread out. The Russians are concentrated in their own country and it's actually growing. So this means that another world war will not be happening, but another Cold War may be happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that Cold War that's been happening, that's been or that is going to happen or yeah, is actually the thing that holds the World War, the next, the third World War to like happen. So I think this Cold War is maybe a bit,
Small scale.
yeah, it's like a small scale. It's like a subtle but obvious Cold War, but it's also a good thing actually, based on what Dika said.
Don't forget, Cold War is basically the competition of ideology,
Right.
right?
But there are no communism ideology in this world.
Yeah.
The Russians are
Republic.
China?
Some of them still believe. Like,
Yes.
China
yeah.
is democratic.
Yeah, but I think the ideology that's been accepted by like most countries in the world is democracy. So I think we actually don't have anything to worry about, but we still have to maintain that that democracy. So, sorry.
Well, the conflict of ideologies, I think, like from the Cold War, there created two world superpowers, the US and the USSR, and both of them have different ideologies. Even if right now, the Eastern Bloc of right now, so I think it's Russia and China, they don't have a democratic ideology, but the United Nations can't really do anything about it because, like I said before, they have the veto power. So I think both the US and the USSR are just playing a waiting game on, like I said, who's going to make the first move and what are they going to do about it. And if you see Russians' activities right now, they're basically just taunting the US to come over to Ukraine and kind of attack them. But knowing that they won't, it's like, it feels like the whole conflict around the world is just a game for the Russians. It's just a game for the Russians and a game where they're just waiting for the next outbreak to happen.
It's a game of chess. It's using the walls.
Anyone would like to add? Adeline, Liana, Diraran?
Miss, you look. I have.
They took the spotlight. We can't.
Sorry. I have one. Like in the movies, again, movies. Like for example, American movies about outer space and all that, and then there's this one UFO or like one weird stuff they see in the space. The first question they'll ask is definitely, is that Russian? So I think from that, they're still indicating that. Yeah. So I think they're still indicating that other space stuff they'll find in the outer space is either Russian or Korean, but mostly Russian. So and it's like a bad thing because in the movie it's a UFO that destroys or like that brings badness to the world. So that's the first thing they ask. Is that Russian?
One more minute left.
Tense.
Yeah.
I'd like to add on Sheila's statement on the movies. I think that's like a modern version of the US propaganda against Russia.
Yeah.
Because I think like a lot of people watch Hollywood movies and not that many people watch Russian movies. So I think they use their movies as a media to subtly convey what they think of the Russians, of how the world, they think the world should view the Russians as like the UFO or the alien that is trying to destroy the whole world.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
Lagi? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fine.
Yeah, say
30.
something.
So I would like to add, even though there might not be any conflict on ideology, there's still conflict over the fact that US and the Russians want to fight over which of them is the bigger superpower. And that's why, from what we can see now, the fact that Russia annexed Crimea and also intervened militarily in Ukraine, and also the fact that under Vladimir Putin's leadership, there's propaganda inside Russia, and also they're starting to do espionages and also trying to trigger more proxy wars right now. It shows that Russia is trying to strengthen their power. Also that they're trying to take over the energy sector of Europe and also try to form a European Union so that they can politically influence other countries. And US hasn't done anything much so far to in response to the Russians, but they have strengthened their intelligence system in response to the Russian espionage.
Thank you.